You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Please give a like and a subscribe and a thumbs up and all that. We cleared 30K. So excited. Now I'm up against other channels that have 1 million. I mean, sure, all mine are real, but hey, numbers matter in this game. So also, welcome trolls and maggots and Trumpsters that are in the crowd who type stuff, because it's only you that balloons us out into the rest of the algorithm. Because friendlies, people who like the show, who watch the show regularly and stuff, it's a natural thing for my show to get shared with people that subscribe to similar channels that they watch. That's normal. Only you can get me to show up in viewers of this also watch this in a completely different set of homes. And that you are who gives me the ability to reach other people and build some bridges. Thanks. Are we at 32 already? You're kidding me. Someone is playing with me. That would be nice. My goodness. Hold on. Hold on. No, 30.2. Close, though. Thank you. It's like, that's a little quick. I know it's going to happen quick, but it's not going to happen that quick. So don't forget to subscribe. Support the show in any way you can. Become a Patreon subscriber. That's the group that gets the gear going. You're the ones who help us, got the new computer because of you guys. The lights, the camera, the road gear that I'm taking with me when I go on the road again. That's all you guys. Bless you so much. So patreon.com. You can also become an annual member so you don't have to pay out something every month. Some people get weirded out by that. But also you can super chat and support the show that way. It's fantastic. And if you can't, and if you have no ability to, do not worry about it. Just enjoy the show. But occasionally thank the people who do. So when somebody gives a super chat, let them know that was awesome or whatever. So, give them the kudos they deserve. Also, super chats do not automatically push you to the front of the line, and I don't have to repeat what you say on just because you bought space. And we learned that lesson from the weird guy who was claiming that I was denying his free speech because I would not read his ridiculous super chats on the air because he was talking about Trump's talking points. Like, you don't get to buy them on, like, that's silly. So there you go. I do allow ads on some of the sites. I do not do ads, though, because that would be a bridge too far for me. I don't want to do ads. I don't want to sell stuff to you guys. There's ads on some of these sites, but I don't want to do it. So there you go. As a matter of fact, look, I just hit one on Twitch, and it'll go away. All right, here you go. Yes, just hook me up with laughs. That's all I care about. Okay, so Tucker, who, as we mentioned before...
I like wood.
...has a thing for the building that Don Jr. was in.
Deeper and longer.
And who wouldn't? So he has on Tulsi Gabbard talking about the labs that need to be shut down immediately. Now, I think they're talking about the research labs in Ukraine. The biolabs there. Now, let me see. Do I have my iPad over here? No. Because I have... Hold on. Earlier today, let's see if this shows up. Frequently viewed, anything about it, on our Mac Pro, doobity-doo. Nope, it's not on the reading list. Rats. Okay. The labs that are in Ukraine are research labs that work on... they're not gain-of-function Wuhan labs. They're none of that shit. They're just one of the forward bases, arguably, against chemical and biological weapons. So and viruses in general. Like, if there's an anthrax outbreak, you don't want it cascading across Europe. So they have the antidote there, and they constantly test for new pathogens because you need those. Modern society, everybody's moving about. That's what they're doing. But what these assholes want you to think is that we're making biological and chemical weapons in these factories, and we fucking well are not.
One of the few adults we know in the foreign policy realm is Tulsi Gabbard, the former member of Congress from Hawaii, and we're happy to have her join us.
One of the few adults we know about. One of the few adults. Let's see. Hold on one second. There's probably a reason why she wanted to be, why she's such an adult. Wonderful. Maybe I should pose in red against this red background. It was 1970-something, and Sina was not yet teaching at the University of Hawaii. A Samoan poet had not yet become the first Samoan full professor in the States, and who had not written of our oceans, the watery skin of earth, pulled back to expose a webbing of coral, rough and prickly. She was back in Samoa at a traditionally Sunday feast with her mother, her brother Mike, her American sister-in-law Carol, and 3 little boys. So strikingly beautiful, one would model professionally as a teen. They hadn't yet sat down to eat. Sina remembers when Mike announced that his wife and boys would not be able to eat most of what the mother had cooked, as they were now vegetarian. Also, everyone needed to stop calling their children by their birth names. They were now called Bhakti, Jai, and Narayana. And they were now devotees of a man called Chris Butler, whom they called Jagad Guru Siddhartha Paramahansa Yogananda. When Sina next visited Mike and Carol, Tim and Alice's house, there was nothing on the walls but pictures of the immediate family portraits of Chris portraits of Chris Butler, a 30-something, tan, sandy-haired Caucasian, an aging beach boy in leis and white linen. Altars to him had sprung up in every room. The children's lives were filled with ecstatic chanting, prayer, and beach gatherings, exclusive to Butler devotees. That's the religion that Tulsi Gabbard grew up in. And we are not shaming that because she was a kid when it all started. But I'm just proving that she had a less weird childhood than Swanson heir Tucker Carlson.
Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So it's without even going into what they told us was Russia.
One thing, please don't touch me and take my powers.
Disinformation is actually true. How concerned are you that Torian Nuland, who's overseeing this war, has just admitted there are unsecure bioagents?
Oh my God, there are unsecure bioagents. Now, granted, there are unsecure bioagents in any hospital that is bombed.
Dangerous bioagents in Ukraine.
Have you fuckers ever seen one of those like biohazard waste boxes in a bathroom? You ever seen one of those where people can put like insulin needles and stuff like that? You ever seen that? Guess what would happen if you took one of those out and you just started shaking it all over the place? There would be bioagents everywhere. All right.
I'm extremely concerned, as should be every American and everyone in the world. The seriousness of this situation.
Yes, I'm very worried that this woman, who should be a librarian, who apparently was telling a story about the first time she peered up over a wall into her neighbor's yard, is still stuffing tissues in her sleeve.
Really can't be overstated. First of all, she didn't say no when she was asked by Marco Rubio about there being biological or chemical weapons in Ukraine. So if there were or are, obviously that would be a violation of the Biological Weapons Convention.
Yeah, maybe she didn't say no because she didn't feel like that's a necessity, because that should already be obvious.
Number two, they're categorically been trying to hide this, as you've laid out very, very well. And then once they were found out, rather than saying, hey, you know what, this is a critical emergency, it's a crisis, we have these pathogens in the midst of a war zone, not just in one location, but between 20 and 30 labs in Ukraine. This is a global crisis. We're going to take action immediately. This is how a responsible leader would react.
No, that's this. It's the same situation. If you were looking for cures for disease anywhere in the world, and that country came under fire, the same danger would be true, and the same decisions would be made about whether or not to go into said war zone and try to extract said things, or if hope that they were incinerated if the place got blown up. So your two choices are: the building could get blown up, and therefore all the pathogens die currently in the explosion. Or let's get a bunch of people to walk out there carrying this shit around, where it can either be stolen after it's taken out of security, or if they get killed, then it's in the wind, literally and figuratively. Also, This is the same approach with nuclear power plants. It's an equal danger. These are concerns to be had. It does not mean because they are concerned about nuclear power plants does not mean that the U.S. is hiding nuclear weapons in Ukraine.
Given the crisis of this moment. But instead, what did they do? Her response to Senator Rubio was immediately start pointing fingers. We're going to preemptively start the blame game should anything happen.
This is because she's literally saying they're saying this. They're saying that there are weapons there because they're going to use them. We've seen this before in Syria and other places. That's what we're concerned about. We have no intention of using biological and chemical agents in Ukraine, nor do we expect the Ukrainians to do it with anything we've given them because we haven't. But when Russia starts saying this shit, it's a precursor. Just like they were going to do a false flag and blame it on Ukraine, and the Biden administration called them out and they weren't able to do it. So their pretext was gone, which ratcheted up international pressure because they no longer had this bullshit reason to go into Ukraine.
And to these pathogens and who knows what is going on in these labs.
Yeah, who knows what. But please, Illuminati, don't feel the need to question whether there is anything or anything. Just state it as a fact that there is stuff there and that we're responsible for it, and that if Russia says there's something there, that's because they know.
Before anything bad happens, just say, you know what, it's the bad guys. It's the bad guys who are responsible for this.
And he's upset not because of this counter spy work that she's alleging right now. He's upset that someone's calling Putin a bad guy. Ha 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 ha.
It is the height of irresponsibility. Their response to this, the fact that they're covering it up, the fact that they aren't doing really well.
You're alleging that they're covering it up. All these are allegations you're making. The height of irresponsibility would be to say, yes, indeed, as a former member of Congress, there are biological and chemical weapons there. And if Russia says they're there, they really are there, because I had a briefing and I've forgotten that I wasn't supposed to say anything. So I'm going to say it out loud, which isn't what's happening, but you know what I'm saying. That by her alleging this, the people could take away that she knows something she does not know, and therefore give Russia a pretext. Like, she's basically just handing them the pretext back. That's what she's doing.
To be done, right? Because unless this war in Ukraine ends right now, ends tonight, we face a very real certainty that one or more of these labs will be compromised, will be breached, and it won't just be the people of Ukraine who are impacted.
Sorry, if the war doesn't end tonight, that still would be a possibility. Just because they exist, I suppose, right? You don't think Russia would get in there with just agents if they wanted to do this? Have you never seen a Bond film?
We could face another global crisis when you look at a pathogen that could be released. We just went through this with COVID.
Yes, because, when the Russians invaded Wuhan.
Forgotten this already.
And once again, agencies in the U.S. government, without our knowledge, are secretly funding research that, imperils the world, and no one has ever.
Oh my God! They're secretly research that imperils the world. Oh God! Hang on, I need to go check something. Hold on, I want to grab something. I'll be right back. And this is gonna be a big secret. This is one of the big secrets. I'm sorry, everyone, gather around, because I'm about to reveal some secrets from April of 2020. The U.S., not March of 22, mind you. The U.S. Embassy would like to set the record straight regarding disinformation spreading in some circles in Ukraine that mirrors Russian disinformation regarding the strong U.S.-Ukrainian partnership to reduce biological threats. Here in Ukraine, the U.S. Department of Defense's Biological Threat Reduction Program works with the Ukrainian government to consolidate and secure pathogens and toxins of security concern in Ukrainian government facilities, while allowing for peaceful research and vaccine development. We also work with our Ukrainian partners to ensure Ukraine can detect and report outbreaks caused by dangerous pathogens before they pose security or stability risks. This happens fucking everywhere. Our joint efforts help to ensure that dangerous pathogens do not fall into the wrong hands. We're proud to partner with the Ministry of Health, State Service of Ukraine for Food Safety and Consumer Protection, National Academy of Agrarian Sciences, and the Ministry of Defense to make us all safer. Anyone can learn more about these efforts on the U.S. Embassy website. Meanwhile, the Science and Technology Center in Ukraine, STCU, an intergovernmental organization, was established by international agreement in October 1993. The current parties to the STCU are Azerbaijan, the European Union, Georgia, Moldova, Ukraine, the United States, and Uzbekistan. The STCU seeks to advance global peace and prosperity through cooperative chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear risk mitigation by supporting civilian science and technology partnerships and collaboration that address global security threats and advance non-proliferation. In other words, translation, adult shit. All the things you would have to do in a modern world where this kind of shit happens. And do you want the European Union or the United States to just go, pathogens, fuck it. If a giant version of anthrax starts in Russia and cascades across Europe, not our fucking problem. Till it lands here, and then, even then, why would we bother? Yeah, I hacked the internet to find this. It's just been posted on their fucking site since April of 2020, and the partnership has been in existence since 1993. How stupid are these people? Shall we jump? Oh, link not found. Whoops, sorry. Did I jump to the wrong place? Hold on. Grab this guy. Copy. And then go back to here real quick. 1 second. Dink. And this is, let's see. I don't know when this one was updated. This is from the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine as well. It's been there for a while. This is their COVID-19 response assistance. Laboratory construction. BTRP has upgraded many laboratories from the Ministry of Health and State Food Safety and Consumer Protection Services of Ukraine, reaching biosafety level 2. In 2019, BTRP constructed 2 laboratories for the latter, one in Kyiv and one in Odessa. The science writing mentorship, oh dear God, they're giving out fucking scholarships at this point to people. The overall focus of SWMP, the Science Writing Mentorship Program, is to advance One Health initiatives and disease risk mitigation in Ukraine through effective dissemination of scientific findings at BTRP-supported laboratories. They're linked, but we don't pay for them, but we have grants and fucking hell. Like, this is so easy. They never even heard of this. I never even knew. This is all a lie. They've all kept it hidden. It's just on any government website fucking out in the open that you want to check, but since I didn't check till now, it must have been a secret.
So speaking of no one ever punished, I wanted to get your reaction to this. 27 foreign policy heavyweights just signed an open letter calling for what they call a, quote, limited no-fly zone over Ukraine. Some of the people who signed it include former NATO Allied Supreme Commander Phil Breedlove, U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine William Taylor, former U.S. Ambassador to NATO Kurt Volker, et cetera, et cetera. What exactly are they proposing, and is it a wise idea, do you think?
It is not. Just one last thing on the danger of these.
Of course.
Yeah, I wasn't done lying about these secret fucking labs that you can actually read all about and you have for fucking ever. Biosurveillance Network of the Silk Road, the BNSR. In 2016, the Ministry of Health of Ukraine and State Service of Ukraine on Food Safety and Consumer Protection signed a memorandum on joining a multinational working group with the goal of strengthening the global health security and creating well-functioning disease surveillance network in the Eastern European region that includes Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine. Look, there's a whole YouTube video on African swine fever prevention awareness. Defense Threat Reduction Agency, Biological Threat Reduction Program, Ukraine, Caucasus, and Central Asia. There's a whole YouTube video on this. Shall we?
The work we do in the biological threat reduction program is complicated, and it's difficult to communicate it sometimes to outside audiences. And I think our adversaries like Russia can take advantage of that with some of the propaganda that they put out.
The biological threat reduction.
By the way, I'm sure that the Tulsi fans watching right now think that this was gacked up and thrown out to create pretext to destroy Russia, blah, blah. This was posted in January of 2020.
Program is working in 27 countries. We feel this disinformation and misinformation is done just to really exploit divisions.
We've had accusations that some research projects were being used to create threats, not to identify threats and reduce them. Ulterior motives.
Yeah, yes, that's like what she's saying. Also, by the way, let's see. Russia. Just so you guys have some this is fun. Operation Infection. I mean, it sounds like something out of Spectre. Operation Infection was an active measure disinformation campaign run by the KGB in the 1980s to plant the idea that the United States had invented HIV/AIDS as part of a biological weapons research project at Fort Detrick in Maryland. Historian Thomas Bogart popularized the codename Infection based on the claims of former East German Ministry of State Security. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, Vogel's Inflection, perhaps forward too. However, historians, Operation Denver, blah, blah. The operation involved an extraordinary amount of effort funding radio programs, courting journalists, distributing would-be scientific studies, according to journalist Joshua Yaffa, and even became the subject of a report by Dan Rather on the CBS News. They did a report about how everybody was avoiding treatment for AIDS or believed that it was either fake or that the U.S. had created it to kill Africans. According to the United States Department of State, the Soviet Union used the campaign to undermine the United States' credibility, foster anti-Americanism, isolate America abroad, and create tensions between host countries and the U.S. over the presence of American military bases, which were portrayed as the cause of AIDS outbreaks in local populations. This has been around for a long time. Long time. Yeah. Same shit.
Labs that the U.S. is funding, not only in Ukraine and around the world, they need to be shut down immediately. They need to be shut.
No, they fucking well don't. These are medical facilities linked with other medical facilities in a net to trace pathogens. It's one of the reasons why we got a grip on COVID-19 as fast as we fucking did, because the Chinese posted the genome and all these places went to work on it at the same time.
Immediately. They are insecure. They are posing a threat to the world. They need to be shut down immediately.
They're not insecure. Everything is insecure when a place is being strafe-bombed, you dunce.
On the no-fly zone that's being proposed and encouraged by these
by the same Trumper generals that have been saying that Biden's plan sucks, the people that you support the people that are on Tucker's program regularly.
Called foreign policy experts. Look, they're trying to act tough, Tucker. They're trying to say, we've got to do something, and I get it.
Right, you get it. You're trying to act tough. They're trying to act tough. You're trying to act tough. Tucker's trying to act like he didn't expect what you worked out beforehand you would talk about on the show.
There's so much suffering that we're seeing on our televisions all day and all night. And I get that the American people are frustrated because we want to see this end. Instead of our leaders doing the responsible thing and saying, okay, let's do our best to try to facilitate.
We are doing that. NATO is not trying to coordinate a no-fly zone. They know this. These people are not in office. These people are calling for it. They're wrong.
Negotiated outcome to actually end this conflict, a window of opportunity that President Zelensky opened.
Yeah, they need to negotiate this. Basically, they need to turn around, grab their ankles, whatever Putin wants, give it to him, anything to stop the murders.
you know what, just 24, 36 hours ago. Instead of doing that, they're focused on, hey, let's just do something, look tough, enact a no-fly zone, which would not help the
And again, who the fuck is they?
Ukrainian people. It would make things worse. It's not going to help the American people. It'll make things worse. It'll drastically escalate this crisis and put our pilots directly against Russian pilots, putting us.
Right. This is what Biden said. Why don't you play him saying this exact same thing? And I don't know if you know this. He's the fucking president.
In conflict, at war with Russia, the other nuclear armed power, pushing us, shoving us towards this brink of nuclear catastrophe and nuclear war that would destroy the world.
Yeah, and Ukraine. You know, save Ukraine by destroying it.
Ukraine.
So you give me
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. This letter by these guys that goes contrary to what the current administration is doing. Yeah.
Iraq, Libya, Syria, the list goes on and on. We've got to learn from these lessons and stop this madness.
Yeah, that's true. After we've left Afghanistan and Iraq is basically stable at this point, and I guess Syria, well, the Russians have 3 of our bases. I'm not sure what we were supposed to learn from that one. Figure that one out later. But yeah, the one thing we learned is if we've learned anything from these, and thank you, Tulsi, it's that if a country is attacked, just let it happen. I mean, war is only made worse by trying to stop it and interfering with it. You know, a war is like it's like a fever. You just drink some soup and wait for it to break. You know what I mean? Take some ivermectin. Take the suppository form, put it in your pee hole, and hope for the best.
So we're just getting this from the State Department. This is a tweet, and I'm reading this cold, but I want to run it by you. The United States does.
Right. Yeah. So apparently, Tulsi, that whole thing about her not saying that we don't, they came out and said we don't.
Not have chemical or biological weapons labs in Ukraine. Then they put up a graphic that read, the U.S. is in full compliance with its obligations under the Biological Weapons Convention and does not develop or possess biological weapons anywhere. Now, I can see about 4 holes in that. So if you were, so they're telling.
Yeah. It's such a weaselly statement. If you look at it, the U.S. is in full compliance. What about the stuff that isn't in the actual Biological Weapons Convention? With its obligations, what about the stuff that's in there that they were supposed to do as a favor? And does not develop or possess chemical or biological weapons anywhere. That's pretty vague. Does not develop or possess chemical and biological weapons anywhere. Develop or possess chemical or biological weapons anywhere. What about chemical or biological weapons?
Weapons anywhere. I can see about 4 holes in that. So if you were, so they're telling us they don't own any biolabs in Ukraine. I don't remember. One of the tells to lying is when you answer a question no one asked. I don't think anyone's suggesting.
Exactly.
She just suggested it, fucko. The question asked under Marco Rubio wasn't sufficiently answered according to a bunch of people who are doing segments just like this. So they're responding to your bullshit. You can't present bullshit and then go, hey, how'd they know? Because you're like the 9th person.
Owns biolabs there, right?
That's right. That's right. But you pointed to evidence, and we've seen through different parts of the world. We saw in China how the U.S. is funding this research or these labs.
Yes. We fund labs that fight pathogens in food and in people so that infectious disease does not constantly grind the world to a fucking halt. As a matter of fact, the president before the last one, not the current one, the president before the former guy, set up a team that was a pandemic response team to coordinate with said labs all over the fucking world so that we wouldn't have a swine flu overwhelm us all.
To the tune of hundreds around the world. Why? That question has never been asked or answered by them. Say, why is it? Why is this research something that is so critical, not done in secure labs within the United States?
It is. What the fuck are you talking about? It's also done here. But guess what? If there's a strain of a toxic disease or a chemical pathogen or like a chemical weapon or a pathogen that they've never experienced before that shows up, say in, I don't know, Eastern Europe, they're going to test it there rather than put it on a fucking airplane and fly it here for no fucking reason. It'd be way better. It's one of the reasons why you go through U.S. customs once when you're in another country before you get here. You do. Do you notice how that is in a lot of countries that you pass through U.S. customs in airports on your way here? I mean, you still have to do it when you get here, but you're already been cleared before you get on your goddamn plane. There's a reason for that, because we want to stiff arm any of the awful.
Why is this research being outsourced? There's so many different.
Because there's so many of these pathogens. You don't want them traveling all over the fucking place. We do not want to be disease central. If they can handle it there, and they absolutely can, they should develop an antigen for it and store it. Tell you what, send the vaccine for whatever the fuck it is over here. We'll store that here as well. We're not in the business of collecting every disease on the fucking planet.
Questions here, and all of it points back to really the risk that this is posing. Again, this is something that is fresh in our memories, and if they have nothing to hide, why?
If only we had brought the COVID-19 bacteria to the United States on, I don't know, a boat or a plane, it would be here and there.
Trying so hard to hide it.
Well, they've already admitted it. I mean,
they admitted it. No, they haven't.
Undersecretary of State just admitted it under oath yesterday. So, like,
That's right.
let's not let them pretend that this is.
No, let's not let you pretend that you actually know what the fuck you are talking about.
Like, we're carrying Putin's water again, or they're such liars.
No, you're not carrying Putin's water. That's terrible. You're gargling his balls.
Appreciate having an honest person on this show. It's such a relief. Tulsi Gabbard, thank you.
Yeah, it's such a relief because it never fucking happens on the show. It didn't happen this time either. But, he's just speaking in the abstract, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Yeah, I love that. Listen to the tail end of this. So refreshing.
Person on this show. It's such a relief. Tulsi Gabbard, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
Thank you. Just so goddamn lazy.